Well, it was the first I've gotten to see him do that kind of stuff. So that's exciting for me, as a coach and a play caller, to see your quarterback back out there working. I know he's been doing it a lot. He feels really comfortable with that stuff. It's good for the spirit of the team to see him back out there, because we haven't seen him practice in a long time. So that was a good sign for today.
What does it say about him being there for day one? He could have rehabbed a little bit more on his own, but for him to be there day one, what did that mean for him and this team?
He's a leader of the team, and that's what leaders do. They want to be there regardless of whether they're doing a lot or doing a little. And we got a lot of guys like him right now in the building, and that's exciting to see. But certainly he's the leader of the team.
Like, why do you think it is important to have some OTA stuff, have some stuff on grass as opposed to the virtual stuff you did last year? What's the main importance for that?
I'd say, one, the chemistry. We have a lot of new guys, free agents, draft picks, guys coming off of injury. CJ, Joe Mixon, all those guys coming back, Trey Waynes. And so just getting them back out there with their coaches, their teammates, developing the chemistry, getting to do things full speed. A lot of times your mind will tell you can do something. You're in a meeting room. Oh, yeah, I can do that. But you got to get out there and actually do it and react to it. And so I think even if we're only getting, 10 of these opportunities plus the mandatory minicamp, we'll take advantage of all of them. And there's some really quality stuff that we can get done. And it's a lot more enjoyable for the players and even the coaches to an extent when you're watching tape from practice and not when we were all virtual last year. It was just watching the 2019 season over and over again and finding cut-ups from around the league. And now you get a chance to go out there, and even if it's on air some days, make some of those corrections with splits and landmarks and timing. And it it makes it a lot more enjoyable and fun that way.
You got a chance to get your eyes on the team for the first time in terms of physical conditioning at this point in the offseason, this stage of it. Overall, you're pretty pleased with where everybody is?
I think it looked good. I'm sure those bigger guys were really excited to see the heat ramp up the way it did on day one. When you're out there for the first time with some new coaches, and so you're anxious and you're ready to put your best foot forward, and then you got the blistering heat to deal with as well. So, but again, I didn't see anything that was concerning. And again, that first day is usually the toughest.
What was your discussions like with Joe about where to start with him in this, and from his perspective, what seemed to be most important to him and that you guys agreed on in that respect?
I'd say number one, we're not going to push the envelope here. These are things that he did today that he's been doing, Nick Cosgray, the last weeks, months, whatever it's been. He's been throwing to different trainers and things like that. And so all we were doing is putting him out there and doing the same things he's been doing just to our receivers. And as you saw, there was never no one even near him. We were going to be overly cautious. We're not, okay, he did that today, let's push the envelope tomorrow and say, no, it's not that way at all. It's just involving him with the team, letting him get back out there, be a part of a lot of the communication stuff. Even if he's in a huddle and breaking huddle, just the communication of calling the play and looking guys in the eye. There are new guys up front and making protection calls and things like that, even if he's not actually taking a stat. That stuff is just as important as a lot of other things in this offseason. So those are the things that we wanted him to be a part of. And again, if he's already dropping back and throwing routes, we'll let him go out there and do that with our guys as well.
Is it fair to say then that what happened today is kind of the way it will look throughout this OTA period? You're not going to add any new stuff or ramp up even a little bit as it goes along?
Correct. Yeah, you'd be correct in saying that.
Zach, as you and Joe had one-on-one conversations leading up to OTA, could you sense that there was just a willingness for him to really want to get after it, a sense of excitement to go out there and kind of be a part of all of this?
I don't think it's any different, though, than a lot of the guys. Everyone's been excited to be a part of this 2021 team and get out there. And I don't feel that any different. Joe has worked as hard as anybody could work during a rehab process over the last however many months. And so this is just another step, not only for him, but for a lot of guys. And, I don't want to overstate his level of excitement. He's a competitor and he wants to be out there with his teammates. And that's what I saw.
Coach, is there one thing that you wanted to see from him? Anything you were kind of anxious to see? What was it, and how did you feel?
I think, again, for anybody who's coming off an injury, you're kind of just checking those boxes. Okay, I was out there with the team. It's the first time I've been in a huddle since November. Just little things like that. Again, I don't want to speak for Joe, but just guys have been around coming off of injury. You saw CJ out there bounce around, Joe Mixon bounce around. The guys that just haven't been a part of this or got it taken away from them over the course of the season, those were probably the guys that seemed the most excited because they'd missed it. They knew what they were missing when they were injured, not a part of it. And, so it was fun to see those guys bounce around today.
With Burham particularly, what are the things you do today that maybe end up making an impact in September just based on what he was able to do?
Just, again, developing the chemistry with the skill position guys, letting guys like Riley Reef hear his cadence and hear him in the huddle. Those are things that some of the new players, you got to get a feel for your quarterback. And so all that stuff matters. It's sure we'll get it in August, we'll get it in September, but it is nice to get a head start on some of that stuff and let those guys hear it over the course and use those as teaching tools as we come back in training camp. Obviously, we filmed this stuff and we recorded, and so now we get a chance to use that as a reference as opposed to him not being out there and not getting a chance to use any of that tape.
Zach, what's the plan for ramping Jackson Carman up into reps and having him run with either the ones or the twos?
Well, we're not competing against anybody right now. As you guys have seen, we'll start doing some walkthroughs, offense versus defense here as we get going. Day one was really just about individual work, but again, there is no depth chart per se right now. None of that stuff matters during these OTAs. Everyone needs to be able to play, a couple different positions on the line, and some of those rookies get in there and earn their opportunities. We got a lot of veterans that have done things the right way, and they're going to get opportunities to play as well. And so day one, you saw a lot of those young linemen. They're rotating in there, and they're going to get their chances. And again, they got to continue to earn their way up there.
There wasn't much time last season for undrafted free agents to do much. What importance does it have for this time for them specifically as they try to make the team?
It is good for them to get any opportunity to show what they're capable of, because that was impossible on Zoom last year, really for the most part. And so it's good. Those guys know sometimes young undrafted guys, they're not going to get many snaps. As you guys said, there weren't many team reps today. There's not going to be a ton tomorrow, and there's not going to be a ton on Thursday. And so you might only get 2 or 3 reps in a day. And you need to know what you're doing. You need to line up with confidence and be able to execute your job with confidence, and then don't make repeat mistakes, and those are just, they got to take advantage of every rep they get. And sometimes it's not very many, but there's been a lot of stories of undrafted free agents over the course of the last 30 years that have taken advantage of those opportunities. And so that's what you preach to those young guys.
Zach, we saw DJ Reader and Trey Hopkins working on the side. Is there any updated timetable on them whatsoever?
Things are moving in a positive direction for both those guys, and Rennell Wren was part of that group as well. Nothing one way or the other to say about those guys. Don't anticipate them being in the team groups here in the immediate future, but everything is moving along positively for all 3 of those guys.
How important are OTAs for the new members of the coaching staff? You get a chance to look a player in the eye, shake his hand, actually, on the field with them, putting their hands on them, teaching techniques. The coaching staff, just kind of getting in sync with each other and then with players. I mean, OTA is real helpful there too, isn't it?
Sure. There's probably a lot of anxiousness and excitement there from some of those guys as well. I don't care how young you are, how old you are, when you're in a new environment with players that you've just really gotten to know virtually over time. There's always a level of excitement there. And again, we've hired some really quality guys that I'm excited about, and they've done a great job, and they'll continue to do that in the future.
Zach, obviously this is only the second time in your 3 years now that you've had a full OTA session or kind of a normal-ish looking off season. And so the only frame of reference would be your first year. How different does this feel right now compared to that first OTA when in 2019?
Not even close. It just night and day different. We've got a real purpose. This team's on a mission. These guys, you've probably talked to Jesse and Joe Burrow and Hubbard and all these guys that have been here for a while now. And the time is now for us to put our best foot forward. And we got a lot of work to do. We have the pieces here that we're all excited about, that we've sought to add, and guys that have continued to grow in this organization that are ready to take that next step. And so we just, again, you guys keep asking what's the good of these 10 OTAs. It's all that. It's these guys coming together and really establishing their identity on both sides of the ball, all 3 units really. And so I'm just excited about the group we have of players and coaches, and ready to. We've got a lot of work to do, but I'm going to be excited to go compete with these guys.
Joe said that the next big milestone for him will be getting cleared for football activity and contact at the 9-month mark. So I guess sometime in August, and even raised the possibility of maybe getting some preseason snaps. Are you open to that possibility, or do you have a firm, we are not going to expose that guy to any possible hits in the preseason?
That seems like a long ways away for me, Dan. And so, just the amount of conversations we have just about practice today, we'll take it 1 week at a time here with Joe. And again, not looking to push the envelope. We all want Joe to play in September when the games really matter. And in the meantime, we'll have discussions on what his prep work will look before that. But it was just exciting to get him back on the field today and do the limited work that we did.
2 more minutes. Butch, you're on mute.
Yeah, Coach, sorry about that. I don't think Trevion Williams was working. Do you expect him back at some point here?
I do. Yeah, that's just kind of a day-to-day injury right now.
Thank you.
With Joe Mixon, it's just like I guess he was right now. It's like he was fully healthy to end the season in terms of where he is compared to the other guys.
The question was if he's fully healthy.
Yeah, is he just like any other player who was healthy at the end of last season?
Yep, he is. He's full go. A lot of energy today. It was good to get him back out there. Yeah, but he's full go.
Zach, it looked like we saw him running some routes, line up at the outside, line up inside, I guess, in some of those air passing drills. What do you want to see from him, kind of his growth as he enters this year? And what are some things you think that he may be capable of that we haven't seen so far?
Well, I would say, as I think through here, Ben, probably he was with Joe Burrow, and I didn't want anybody standing next to Joe and running routes to the backfield. So we were motioning Joe. They were usually paired together. So he was probably motioning to empty sets because of the quarterback he was going with. And, Joe, I thought Joe was having a productive year for us when he got hurt. I'm not mistaken, but he's one of the more he had as many touches as anybody in the league, top 2 or 3 at the time of his injury. So, we're always working to use him in the passing game, whatever that looks like, splitting him out, getting him screens, getting him check downs. I think he's continued to make good steps in that direction. Protections can continue to improve each year. And, again, we've seen really good things from Joe. And I think that he would have had a fantastic year last year had he stayed healthy. And that's the expectation for him this year.
One last question.
So just to clarify, Zach, you had Joe motion out of the backfield just to avoid any possible accidental collision with Joe?
I think you guys can all share my feelings on that. It's anytime you see a ball roll back there or anybody standing within 10 feet, I was usually yelling at them to get away. So, that's probably overly cautious, but that's the way we're going to start this thing. And yeah, he's only taking snaps from an empty backfield right now.
Is that why he had a different number? Is that why he had a different number? I mean, or was it just because the 9 was screwed up, or was that for a reason that the 9?
That's the new jersey. Yeah, that's the new practice jersey. So we're slowly, one by one, integrating those new practice jerseys, swapping out the old ones with the new ones. So that's all that was. Had nothing to do with injury or anything like that.
Zach, I understand the following question is going to sound incredibly weird, but I think it's probably going to need to be asked anyways. Did you have anybody watching Joe Burrow's feet throughout the day, just making sure that there were correct?
Yeah, me and Mike Brown, we were the two that were in charge of that one. No, it's everybody's aware. Any player coming off of injury, that we're slowly working back into the fold, and we're getting limited work with. Those are precautions that we always take.
But was there like a coach specifically that was making sure that like no balls were getting in there, or y'all just police yourselves and go from there?
Correct.
Okay.
Coach, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.